was also smacked in the face with an epiphany yesterday that this year is just a bad, bad year for the Heisman.
Yeah.
You have 4 candidates right now with Diego Pavia, Fernando Mendoza, with Julian Sayin, and Marcel Reed. And you can throw Jeremiah Love in there as well. In fact, I would really throw Jeremiah Love in there at this point because all of the 4 quarterbacks that I just mentioned, what has been the best play? What has been the best win for all of them? They've played nobody.
Mendoza has the most exciting win, but it was against a downtrodden Penn State team. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, that's your Heisman moment. If Penn State is nationally ranked and it's you versus them to get into the Big Ten championship and you make that throw, which the throw itself is crazy. It's a beautiful throw, it's a beautiful catch. If it was all of those things lining up to it, that's a Heisman moment.
Yeah.
But a comeback win against a then 3-win Penn State team is just like, ugh. What Julian's saying, he's played one ranked team. And ranked teams, by the way, that I count ranked teams, which people are pointing to with Oregon and be like, well, they haven't beaten well, they were ranked when they played them. He beat Texas. Marcel Reed's biggest Heisman moment so far has been a comeback win against South Carolina, which is sick, but you also allowed your team to be down 30-3. And then Diego Pavia, when he's played ranked teams, hasn't played well. I don't care if you throw 5 touchdowns or account for 5 touchdowns against
Tennessee
Kentucky
this weekend, too.
Yeah, you get Tennessee. That's a great – if he did what he did this weekend to Tennessee, we're in business. We're cooking with gas.
That's right.
That's a good team that could get you into the playoff. But, Kentucky stinks. You're supposed to have 5 touchdowns against Kentucky. And then what made me even more angry is that I saw a comparison. And my favorite Heisman season campaign of all time was Joe Burrow.
Right.
That set the world on fire. I have never been more enthralled with a quarterback. And they put comparisons out in the same amount of games with the quarterbacks now to what Joe Burrow was doing in 2019. And it's unfair to think that he is the benchmark for Heisman, but just because I hold that one so dear, he had 1,500 more yards than everybody through 11 games, man. It's not like it was 50 more yards. He had 1,500 more yards. I mean, Burrow was nearly at 4,200. I don't think any of these guys have 30,000. It's insane when you see these numbers side by side with a legitimate, badass Heisman winner and then these selection of guys. I don't have a vote. I'm hoping to get one soon, but it would be a really tough decision for me to make just because I don't know who I mean, honestly, I would lean Jeremiah Love just to give it to a running back at this point because if quarterbacks aren't balling, give it to a running back. But even Notre Dame, he didn't play great against ranked teams early in the season either. I feel like that has to play a factor into it. If you're going to judge teams and their ability to compete for a championship based off of how they play against ranked teams, I feel like you have to judge the players when you're talking about a Heisman in that same category. And if you just look at Pavia's numbers against good teams, man, it's really pedestrian. It's good, but it's really pedestrian.
I agree with you. And also, Diego Pavia is getting on my nerves. Can I just say that? He's just getting on my nerves. He's a hell of a football player. But when you hear, he's been talking to Johnny Manziel, I'm like, yeah, I can tell. He's not going off to Vegas yet. But he plays with not just a confidence and a swagger, but now it's to the point when, okay, you're doing the wave, and then at the end, you're doing the Heisman.
Was so bad.
I'm like, all right, dude, now it's contrived, and it's planned, and you knew this going in, and you're beating a bad Kentucky team, and there's your mom. I guarantee you, and part of it is the coverage's fault, right?
Mm-hmm.
If 9 times out of 10, it's the cutaway, Fabia's family, Bill and Linda enjoying the game. It's 2 or 3 seconds. They whisper something to one another, and then that's it. Here, it's every single time. Pavia on a 3rd and 2 gets 3. Cut away to the mom.
And it's just
every single time.
There's no other story there. And when you make the comparisons to Johnny Manziel, say whatever you want about Manziel as an NFL player.
Right.
Say whatever you want about Manziel personally. There are some flaws there, right? We all realize that.
Mm-hmm.
You know why Johnny Manziel was as big of a deal as he was? Because he beat Alabama.
Yeah.
Not Kentucky. He beat an Alabama team coached by Nick Saban in his prime, and he did it on a massive stage. He didn't throw 5 touchdowns against Kentucky. Pavia played Alabama, not coached by Nick Saban. They didn't score in the second half. Literally not a point, not a field goal, not a safety. They didn't like block an extra point and take it back for like they didn't do anything. They didn't score a point in the second half against or Bama, or maybe it's fourth quarter. But either way, they didn't score against Alabama. You can't make just because they talk brash does not mean those are the same players.
Right.
Manziel actually was a badass on the field doing the unthinkable.
And how he played, like Pavia is, look, he was throwing amazing deep balls and he's tough. He's tough as nails. But Manziel played with a flair, right? He played with like even that game in Bama where he's running around for his life and just slinging passes and finding dudes open. So not only was it a win, it's how he won. It was just like highlight reel after highlight reel against Bama. That plays into it too.
I mean, Johnny Manziel was so good at Texas A&M that you haven't even thrown up about talking about him yet.
Yeah.
And you hate Texas A&M. Like there was just a different level to what he was, where there was a polarizing element of him because he was cocky, he was brash, but then you watch him play and you're like, damn, that guy is kind of fun. Like he did just make 6 dudes miss in the backfield and throw a 40-yard strike. Like that's pretty crazy. That's pretty impressive. And Diego Pavia is not that. Like should he go to New York? Of course. I'm in favor of just generally, Jenks, about you get 5 guys.
Right.
Like bring all 5. No, none of this. In the past couple of years, they brought 3. They brought bring all 5. You get 5 slots, bring all 5. Should he get there? Absolutely. But I don't look at him as the best player in college football. And I haven't at any point this year. And nothing against the Kentucky team is going to make me change my ways.
Also, and this is going to be interesting this weekend because Pavia has a chance, right? He's going, I believe that game is in Knoxville.
Yes.
So they're going to Tennessee. Now, if he shows out against the Volunteers, that's much different than showing out against Kentucky.
Exactly.
But Mendoza has had 2 weeks to get ready for Purdue. So, and look, obviously a performance against Tennessee, balling out against the Vols is going to be much more impressive than putting up big numbers against Purdue. At the same time, Mendoza already has a lead, and he will likely pad to his ridiculous numbers in a bit. It'll just be like, name your number.
And on top of that, if the voters are smart, which a lot of them are, but there's a large substance that is not, where they just cast the vote at the end of the regular season, you can factor in the championship game. Who's that championship game going to be in the SEC? Well, it's not going to be Diego Pavia. Who's that championship game going to be in the Big Ten? You're going to get Indiana and Ohio State, barring some sort of craziness this weekend. There are scenarios where other teams could get in, but barring some sort of craziness, you're getting those 2 teams. That game is going to be effectively for the Heisman.
Right.
Whoever outplays the other, unless we get like a classic Iowa 10-7 game, or we get a game where it's nothing but running backs, who, if you've watched Ohio State running back-wise, not exactly the most special this year. But it's nothing but running backs going crazy. Like, that game's going to be for the Heisman. If Pavia wants to do it, he needs a game like he played against Kentucky, against Tennessee. You can't have a game like he had against, like, let's just say, a South Carolina, for example, which is a great win, 177 yards and 2 touchdowns with a pick. That's not good enough. Alabama, 198 yards, touchdown and a pick. It's not good enough. Even against LSU, 160 yards, touchdown. He did have 2 with his legs, though. So, like, you could factor the legs in there. He's had 8 touchdowns with his legs. He's had 661 yards. That all's important. But you got to play that way against a good team.
Also, we need to throw out that Julian Sayin is right there.
Yeah,
he's 4-1. Okay, and so. Look, I know in the Heisman ballot, some people don't take the championship game into effect. Some people do.
Which they should be banned, by the way, if they do that. As someone that's like legitimately fighting for a Heisman vote, if you aren't going to treat it with the proper respect and you're going to put it in before the championship game, you should not have a Heisman vote.
Julian Sayin has 27 touchdowns, 4 picks. He's completing 68.4% of his passes. He has 1 interception in his past 8 games. If he balls out against Indiana,
that's your winner.
Then that's your winner.
Because that's a Heisman moment, balling out against a defense that has not allowed hardly anybody to score against them. I mean, Penn State had 24, but like that's the top of the mountain for them. That is more than good enough to win a Heisman. And the flip side with Mendoza, if you ball out against an Ohio State team that has not allowed anyone to score more than twice in the first half, it's over.
It makes me wonder. Then you have to think about Ohio State and Indiana. Like, how do you think that game is going to go?
Right. And that's honestly, if you think that Ohio State is going to beat Indiana, whatever the money line number is, you might as well just bet Sayin to win the Heisman now.
Yeah,
because that's going to
exactly.
be a better payout at 4-1 versus, they met on the money line. Maybe it's a pick 'em at -110. I think Ohio State will be probably a 5.5 point favorite, 6.5 point favorite. So you're not getting a whole lot of value there. You might as well just take Sayin to win the Heisman at 4-1.
Yeah, exactly. Do it now, and then cash your ticket. I just don't know though. I think that like a lot of people, it's easy to fall into the trap that, it's Ohio State, it's Indiana, but this Indiana team is different. They are different, right? They're absolutely different. So that's the only hang up there.